All right, let's dive right in to the heart of destruction in Marvel Snap. Death.
Yeah.
That's right, the death card. We've got tons of stuff to go over. Guides, strategy articles, even some of that cool in-game lore.
Yeah.
Get ready to learn how to really use her Aurora, how to totally shut her down.
You know, death is such a cool card.
Yeah.
It's a whole different way to think about the game. Most cards you wanna keep on the board, right?
Right.
You want them to stay there.
Yeah.
Death is like destroy everything.
Yeah. So remind me what makes her so unique mechanically.
Okay.
I've heard she can be free,
Yeah.
like actually free to play, which just seems broken.
Yeah. So she starts at 9 energy,
Okay.
which is a lot.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's a lot. But every card that gets destroyed,
Okay.
yours or your opponent's,
Okay.
her cost goes down by 1.
Wow.
So potentially by turn 6, she could be free.
Oh, wow.
That's when things get really interesting.
Okay, so free by turn 6. Does that mean you could play her with, like, another really powerful card?
Mm-hmm.
Are there certain combos that make the most of that?
Oh, for sure. And one of the most devastating is pairing her with Killmonger.
Okay, yeah.
On that last turn.
Right.
Think about it. Your opponent, they're probably like trying to build up their power on locations last couple turns.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Killmonger comes in, wipes out all their one-cost cards.
Oh, man.
Just totally disrupts their plan.
Right.
Death drops for free.
Oh, that's awesome.
Game changer.
So Killmonger kind of sets up like a double whammy.
Yeah.
But there's got to be more to a death deck than just waiting till turn 6.
Right.
What's happening in those early turns to set that up?
You're thinking about controlled demolition.
Okay.
So cards like Bucky Barnes, who
Broker.
transforms into the Winter Soldier when he's destroyed,
Right.
he becomes fuel for deck's cost reduction.
I see.
Same with Nova. He buffs your cards when he's destroyed.
So you're sacrificing units,
Yeah.
but with a goal.
With a purpose, yeah.
So is a successful death player kind of playing with a different kind of risk and reward than someone who wants to keep their cards on the board?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We're not afraid to lose your units.
Right.
Because you're building up to something.
Yeah.
And there's actually, the sources had 3 main deck types that we can kind of look at.
Right.
The classic destroy deck.
Yeah.
This is all about destruction from the beginning.
Okay.
Get those cards out, blow them up, get death out.
Okay.
The Thanos death hybrid,
Ooh,
which actually adds the Infinity Stones
oh, wow.
for even more strategies and layers.
Wait, so Thanos Andy Death,
Yeah.
is that pulling from, like, the comics, too?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's a nod to their connection in the Marvel Universe,
Okay.
which is really cool.
I like that. I like when they tie it in.
It adds a really cool thematic depth to the gameplay.
Right.
So the Thanos death deck, it's
Yeah.
all about controlling those locations,
Yeah.
using the Infinity Stones,
Yeah.
setting up death as that big finisher.
Gotcha. What about that third one, the negative death?
Oh, yeah.
That one sounded risky.
It is risky.
Like flipping her cost and power.
Mm-hmm.
Is that actually viable, or is it a meme?
It's high risk, but it can be surprisingly effective
Okay.
with the right setup.
Okay.
So cards like Zabu and Psylocke
Okay.
allow you to kind of cheat death out early,
Oh, okay.
so you can catch your opponent off guard.
Okay.
Imagine seeing a 12 power death on turn 4.
Yeah, I'd freak out.
Yeah.
I think I would freak out.
It's a little scary.
Yeah, but now that I know that exists, I'd be watching for that early Zabu or Psylocke.
Absolutely.
That'd be like a warning sign.
Yeah, awareness is key
Okay.
when you're facing a death deck.
Right.
You gotta know the signs early and change your strategy.
Right.
So that's where understanding her weaknesses comes in.
Okay, let's talk about weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
She can't be unstoppable.
Yeah. No.
What are some cards that I should be looking out for if I want to counter death?
Okay. So if we're looking to counter death, there's definitely some cards you want to watch out for.
Okay, like
Yeah.
what, if I'm up against a death deck,
Mhm.
what cards are like their nightmare fuel?
Armor.
Okay.
Armor is a big one.
Okay.
It just stops cards in a location from being destroyed.
Right.
So suddenly your opponent's like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice Bucky Barnes.
Right.
But it doesn't work.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happened.
It just sits there.
He just sits there.
Okay.
Same with Cosmo.
Okay.
He blocks on reveal abilities that involve destruction.
Oh, okay.
So Carnage.
Right.
Not going to work.
Okay, so Armor and Cosmo, if I see my opponent doing a destroy deck,
Yeah.
getting those down early is like a preemptive strike.
Ab-
What about cards that target death directly?
Mm.
Because she is a high power card.
Yes. Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is the perfect counter to Death's 12 power.
Right.
He'll destroy her.
So if she's on the field, he'll just wipe her out.
Gone.
That's why a lot of Death players probably hold her back till the last turn.
Yeah, smart players, they wait.
So they don't get Shang-Chi'd.
Exactly, because then you can't Shang-Chi.
Right, but holding her back means you might not get that turn 6 energy cheat
Right.
to play another card with her.
Exactly.
Are there other cards that kind of mess with that timing?
Yeah, so Sandman.
Okay.
Sandman limits both players to 1 card per turn.
Oh, wow.
Makes it a lot harder to pull off that big turn 6 play.
Right.
Wave.
Okay.
Wave's even more brutal.
Okay.
She sets all cards to a cost of 4.
Oh, wow.
So no more free death.
Okay, so it's a real balancing act for the Death players.
Mm-hmm.
They need destruction to make her cheaper,
Right.
but they also have to worry about counters.
And timing.
Hmm.
It sounds like they need to really be paying attention to what their opponent's doing.
Absolutely.
Constantly adapting.
It makes you think differently.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about Death.
Okay.
It's not just about like, oh, I have the biggest card.
Right.
I'm just going to hit you with it.
It's like, it's more strategic.
It's strategic.
Okay.
You have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
You have to anticipate.
Okay, but let's be honest. Is she really as dominant in the meta as some people say?
Mm-hmm.
Are those high win rate stats we see?
Yeah.
Are those for real?
The stats don't lie.
Okay.
Death has a really high win rate and cube share,
Okay.
which means she's effective at different skill levels.
Okay.
The fact that she fits into so many different decks,
Right.
like we talked about, classic, destroy, Thanos, death,
Mm-hmm.
that means she's versatile.
Okay. And don't all the different death card variants contribute to her popularity?
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's not just about power. For sure.
It's like style too.
It's fun.
Right. It's like, oh, I want to conquer with this death,
Exactly.
not that death.
Exactly.
Right.
From that classic cosmic horror to the cute chibi death,
Yeah.
there's a variant for everyone.
It adds a level of personality.
It does.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a second.
Okay.
Let's talk about Death's lore.
Mm-hmm.
You said she's more than just a card.
Yeah.
She's like a cosmic entity
She is.
in the Marvel Universe.
She is. In the comics, death is a fundamental force.
Okay.
She's balance
Okay.
between life and decay.
Okay.
She's often depicted as a woman in robes,
Okay.
but her appearance can vary.
Okay.
Thanos is obsessed with her.
Yeah.
He does all those terrible things to try to win her favor.
Okay, so in a way, she's influencing the Marvel Snap world
Mm-hmm.
on like a cosmic level,
Yeah.
even though she's just a card.
It's really cool how they tie it together.
That adds another dimension.
It does.
Okay. And the different death art styles,
Mm-hmm.
do those reflect that?
They do. Yeah.
Like you mentioned classic Lady Death.
Yeah.
What are some of the other styles that really stand out?
Well, Gwenpool's BFF is cool.
Okay.
It's death in a hoodie with a skateboard.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny.
It is funny.
Annihilation is visually stunning.
Okay.
Very fiery.
Okay.
Makes her feel powerful.
Yeah.
And then Winter Soldier's nightmare is dark.
Okay.
Shows her all cloaked in frost.
Oh, wow.
Very haunting.
So it's like a mini art gallery in the game.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about Death.
Yeah.
We've talked about her mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
the meta,
Mhm.
the lore,
Mm-hmm.
even her art.
Yeah.
But for people out there who are ready to embrace her power,
Yeah.
what are some tips for playing her effectively?
Okay.
What separates a casual Death player
Mm-hmm.
from like a true master?
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're talking pro tips for death.
Yeah, give us the inside scoop. What separates the casual player from like the master of destruction?
Patience.
Okay.
Big one.
Okay.
You might be tempted to blow up all your cards early.
Yeah, get her out there.
Get death out there.
Yeah.
But resist the urge.
Yeah.
Think of those early sacrifices as setting the stage. Okay.
Right.
Wait
Yeah.
till like turn 4 or 5
Oh, yeah.
to really maximize your destruction.
So you want to make sure that when you're ready to play Death, she's as cheap as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So it's about playing the long game
Mm-hmm.
and setting up those explosive final turns.
Exactly.
Any other like really pro level tips?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Here's a fun one. Save Killmonger for turn 6.
Oh, okay.
So not only does he clear out those 1-cost cards your opponent might have,
Right.
but it also triggers Death's cost reduction at the same time.
Oh, okay. So he's doing double duty.
Double duty.
That's awesome. Any final words of wisdom for people ready to embrace the chaos of a Death deck?
Knowledge is power.
Okay.
Dive into those deck archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
Experiment. Adapt.
Okay.
Learn from your victories and your defeats.
Right.
And have fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Destruction can be fun.
Yeah. I mean, there's something satisfying about turning destruction into an advantage.
Yeah.
So I think we've given our listeners a lot to consider about death.
For sure.
Her mechanics, her impact on the meta, even her place in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
What really stands out to you about death?
I think the most interesting thing about her is she's kind of a contradiction.
Right.
She's destruction.
Right.
She's the end.
Right.
But she's also balance
Mm-hmm.
and renewal.
Right. So she's not just a card.
Exactly.
She makes you think about the game differently.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I've got one last question.
Okay.
We've analyzed all this data.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like Death's real power is in how she forces everyone else to adapt their game.
Mm-hmm.
So is she ultimately a force for diversity in the Marvel Snap meta? That's something to think about. We've reached the end of our deep dive into Death. We hope you've learned a little bit about her power and how she can add some strategic depth to Marvel Snap.